Hi guys, it's Josie, and today I'm going to be filming the Reading Habits tag. Now I know this tag has been around for a while and it's not particularly new here on BookTube, but I thought it'd be a super fun tag to do because I want you guys to know how I read, and I would love to know your answers to the questions, so you can either write them down in the comments below or give a link to your video because I would definitely love to see how you guys read. Now on to the questions. The first question is, do you have a certain place in your home for reading? And yes, my bed. I read in my bed all of the time. I love my bed. I think it's super comfortable and I just feel so at home reading in my own space. Now sometimes in the summer I'll read on my deck or out on my sun porch, but mainly I read in my bed. Now the second question is bookmark or random piece of paper. I have been using the same bookmark for 2 years and it's something I just scribbled out on a piece of random paper, but magically it's stuck around with me for 2 years, and that is this bookmark. It is just lines and polka dots, but it's my bookmark and I love it and I'm attached to it. I always mark my pages with this. The third question is, do you just stop reading or do you have to stop after a chapter, certain amount of pages? This is kind of an interesting answer. I always have to stop at the end of a chapter. I can never stop mid-page or mid-chapter. I always have to finish the chapter. But as far as like reading, I don't say, oh, I can only read 15 minutes or read 50 pages in a sitting. No, I'll read as long as I can, but I cannot stop in the middle of a chapter. I always have to stop at a chapter. I just find it's a good marking spot in a book, but I always have to stop at the end of a chapter. Question 4. Do you eat or drink while eating? Now, I'm not a good multitasker with reading and doing anything else, so I cannot eat or drink while I'm reading because I feel like I'm so focused on eating that I'm not focused on my books. So definitely I do not eat while I'm reading. I know some people who are that's very comfortable for them, but I just don't eat while I read. Now, question 5 is multitasking music or TV while reading. No, I can't do that. Like I said, I'm not a great multitasker, so I cannot read and watch TV. I have to have a one-track mind. I have to focus on something at a time. Now, question 6 is one book at a time or several? Now, I think I kind of answered this in the past 2 questions, but I cannot multitask. Big shocker. I can't multitask. So I cannot read several books at a time. If you follow me on Goodreads, I'll leave a link down below. But you know, my currently reading shelf is always one book. I'm always reading one book, except sometimes in school we're reading a book in class and a book at home. But most of the time I just read one book at a time, and I'm pretty strict on myself with that rule. Question number 7, reading at home or everywhere? I typically read at home. That's where I'm comfortable. I like to read at school when I have downtime. And then as far as like out in public, I can read in the car. I always have headaches and motion sickness if I read in the car for too long. And as far as like reading in public places like doctor's offices or things like that, I'm too distracted. I like to focus on reading when I can. Question 8 is reading out loud or silently in your head. I read out in my head. I'm pretty good at that. I read in my head, and then if there's something I don't understand, I'll read it out until it makes sense. But typically I just read in my head. Question 9 is, do you skip ahead and read? Skip ahead or skip pages? No, I don't. I just read through. If it's boring, I just read through. So I don't typically skip pages unless I've read that book before, and then I can just skip to the parts I like. Question 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new? And I watched Bookable's video before I filmed this, and she said that breaking a spine is like showing that the book is well loved, and I totally agree with that. If I borrow a book from a friend and the spine's all broken, I think that's great because that means that book was well loved. So I definitely think breaking the spine is fine. Keeping it like new is like you're keeping it all perfect and you haven't loved it. So I do like to break spines. Question 11, do you write in your books? Now, typically no. But if there's a part I absolutely love, I will highlight it. But technically, I don't do notes. I know I'm reading a book. We're reading The Giver in school now, and I have to annotate, and I don't like doing that, but I have to sometimes. And now the last question is, who do you tag? Well, I tag everybody. I would love to see what your reading habits are, so you can definitely do this tag, link it below, and I will definitely check your video out. But specifically, I think I'm going to tag the two girls at We Adore Books. I think that they're super awesome booktubers, and if you haven't checked them out, you should. It's We Adore Books. And I think I will tag Meg from the Teen Book Addict because I would love to see what her reading habits are. So yeah, thanks for watching, and please subscribe and let me know down below what your reading habits are. Bye!